You know, when I was in UK myself, I was starved of information from Zimbabwe. Because when we went to UK in 2000, then there was no internet, there was no Facebook, so there was no direct link with what was happening home. So there was that information gap in terms of what was happening in Zimbabwe. So we relied on content or news that we would see on BBC or Al Jazeera, and it would just be a bite of what they wanted to say about Zimbabwe. And coming from the field as a media person myself, I would know that these guys are lying and they're just saying things that pleases themselves, or they are also propaganda stations in their own right. What is propaganda? You just say what you want versus the other. So they were saying a lot of things which were not true, showing people eating cockroaches, and they are saying that's in Mbare, and all sorts of things. And also we also wanted to know what was really happening politically, and the situation back home in Zimbabwe. This was at the height when I left Zimbabwe, when parties like MDC came to life, in 1999, and then I left for UK after that. So there were a lot of things that were happening, and some of them were related to asylum issues and all sorts of things. The newspapers reporting that so many people have been killed, so many people have we really didn't have enough information. Right. So at some point in life, I said to myself, you know what, I need to do something to fairly represent Zimbabwe on a world map, showing people factual news that is happening on the ground in my own country, in Zimbabwe. First and foremost, that is my main reason of coming back home, to start an information center that informs people that are living abroad, and at the same time not only informing people negatively but positively, to show that there's something good about Zimbabwe that we can put on a world map. So that made me leave my comfort zone in UK to come back to Zimbabwe and just tell a true story about Zimbabwe, whether it's political, it's social, and everything else to do with news and current affairs.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think it's a calling. It sounds like it's a calling, because sometimes we were frustrated by it, but we never thought, okay, let me do something about it. But you actually went on a journey to say, I am going to represent my country, give information. I think as you are saying, you kind of then raise the issue of ethics to do with journalism, that information needs to be, although we've got freedom of speech, but it needs to be balanced. So we are not telling lies, but we're telling the truth. Are there any regulatory bodies here in Zimbabwe that regulate journalists in terms of the news that they give to the world, or people just, as long as they have a camera?
If you're a trained journalist, there is a self-regulatory effect that naturally comes to you as a journalist. From what you were trained at school, you were supposed to, you are meant to report facts as they are, and you don't speak on behalf of the consumers, but you also make sure what you present to them in terms of news or current affairs is the truth. That is why you are required to go and ask the person in question what they have to say about a particular issue, so that I don't speak on their behalf. So my role, for starters, is to propagate, amplify what anyone else has said. This is why when we write newspapers, we will say, Auntie Mimi said. I don't say things on her behalf. That's journalism. So regulation starts with a school of media. Understanding that whatever information that I'm going to put forward will not injure anyone's rights in the process. Regulatory bodies, they come, yes. Why do they come in? They will end up coming in because people want to say lies about certain things, which is not factual. You end up with regulatory bodies, and that's why the government has to make sure that everyone else who wants to operate a tuck shop, As an SME, must be registered.
Right.
As a media person, you must be registered.
Right.
So regulations are not there to stop people, but to continuously give guidance and
Right.
keep people in check. Yes, in Zimbabwe they are there. There are so many. But if you hate them, you also need to have a self-introspect. What is it bad that I am doing or that I'm reporting negatively as a lie? It's not a lie to say they have built a bridge, but it's a lie to say they have built a bridge when it's not there.
Right. right. So I think I want to come to that self-regulating and sensationalism, because media now is about sensationalism. It's who gets more views. And you said you are in online commercial television. So there is so much pressure to maybe distribute fake news. I think you said lying, that is even more decent than fake, because fake news is just a fabrication. So how then does your company regulate itself so that you are not in that hype of saying, let's just push this because it will give us traffic on our portals?
I tell you what, there's what is called editorial policy. Editorial policy is a set of rules that a company gives itself and its management and its people that work, or the financiers or the funders of that media organization. If you are a government, there are regulatory effects that allows you to say you are supposed to report things this way, and you support the government in power and all sorts of things, etc. And at the end of the day, you are biased towards what the government does, and you speak less negative things of what they are failing to do.
Because they are the funders.
Because they are the funders. And then when you go to the independent, you are given money because you are supposed to say everything negative about the government if you are to remain being funded. You see what I mean? So ourselves, we don't want to rely on that. What we want to try and do is to have what is called an independent television station,
Right.
where our editorial policy is not pushed by the funder to become a mouthpiece of the funder. Say everything bad about the government of Zimbabwe, then you get your pay. And then the government say defend everything evil, even if the government is not doing anything that is progressive. Never say it. You see what you are saying?
Yeah.
So there's that adage which says, "Don't bite the hand that feeds you."
Yeah.
So we are praying and working hard that we don't become that media organization that is funded to speak on behalf of a political party or
Opposition.
or some funders. Or we also want to continue to give people facts.
Right.
And how do we do that? We don't take sides. How do we do it when we cover everyone, whether they are activists, the government in power, independent, people that are in politics and all sorts? How do we manage to do that? We don't take sides. We don't put butter or icing on the cake of whatever they have said. How do we do it? If Nelson Chamisa, the president of Triple C, when he's addressing a rally, our title must not be seen to be biased or to try and enhance his activity.
Right.
We just say President Advocate Nelson Chamisa for Triple C addresses people in Beitbridge, full stop.
Right.
When we go to the current president, President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa addresses youth at HICC, full stop. We do not go into the content of his speech.
Right. So we are to listen to the speech ourselves and make a decision.
You make a judgment for yourself.
Right.
As an electorate, as people are being governed. And if it's an independent person, there is Linda Masarira who has got her own party or is an independent. We just do the same. It becomes uniform. Linda Masarira speaks on the issues to do with the election, Zimbabwe Election Commission or women. Full stop, we end there.
Right. So, but are there, maybe I'm going off here. So, do you think this is achievable, that in the near future we will have more media houses that are just giving us information on the ground. Because sometimes when I visit some portals, when I read the title, I kind of know they're leaning towards this and leaning towards this. Do you think in Zimbabwe it is possible that we will have more media houses that just gives information without involving our emotions?
It's not possible if you go back to the issue of funders.
Right.
It's not possible, and it's never going to be possible. But who determines your editorial policy is maybe the founder of that company, and how he gets his funding to run that company.